Bennett Kessler filed this following report. Bishop Police Chief Chris Carter confirmed that his department has launched an investigation into what he said appears to be embezzlement of funds inside of the Inyo County Welfare Office in Bishop. Now, the chief said this investigation is in the early stages, and so not many details are available. Asked how much money is involved, Chief Carter said he and his officers do not yet know. He said that he has called people in from the state level to help separate fraudulent versus legitimate funds to determine the total amount of loss. Chief Carter said some, but not all, suspects have been identified and no one is in custody. The apparent internal embezzlement will remain the subject of an investigation with more details available later, according to the chief. Chief Carter said, quote, "As things stabilize, we will identify suspects and know the extent of the theft," end quote. Well, Bennett Kessler also filed this story. Michael Ort heads up Praxis Associates, which continues to construct the Digital 395 project, which is 583 miles of fiber optic line from Barstow through Inyo and Mono counties to Nevada. It will bring high-speed internet to many. Ort gave an update of the project to the Inyo County Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. Now, Ort explained that he is also a principal member of California Broadband Cooperative. That's the owner of Digital 395's fiber optic line. Now, with many details about construction on various parts of the project, Ort told the supervisors that things are moving along and that $23 million has been spent on permits and regulatory processes with as many as 47 different agencies along the route of the project. Now, Ort said this took longer and cost much more than anticipated. He said the project has received all licenses and rights of way from end to end. Now, crews just finished at the China Lake Naval Weapons Center lands and work to avoid harm to the desert tortoises there. In other places, weather or the existence of cultural resources has challenged their work. Now, Ort explained that he and others have broken the route down into 84 different sections to systematically get regulatory approvals for their cultural program. 15 of those sections, he said, have been completed. Ort said the approach by his crews was to focus on higher elevations first before too much snow had fallen. Now, more recently, they said they had been working at China Lake as well as the Bishop area. Now, crews have worked to dig a trench and lay conduit on Casa Diablo Road, but ran into problems with the Bureau of Land Management. Larry Primash of BLM said that when they installed conduit, Praxis crews may have intruded into a wilderness study area and outside the existing right-of-way. Now, how long will this delay the work? Primash said a meeting would take place in the next 10 days to discuss it, and he said this issue involves 1.4 miles. Now, Ort said work is expected to take place in Olancha and Independence starting in March. Crews dig trenches, lay conduit, and then, as Ort explained, blow fiber into the lines. He suggested citizens check out their website for updates, and that website is digital395.com. Now, before high-speed internet service is activated, the entire line will have to be connected. Grant requirements say the project must be done by July 31st of this year, and Ort said they are on schedule. He confirmed that he makes regular reports to the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. Digital 395 is funded by $80 million in federal stimulus funds and $20 million from the state. Inyo County Supervisor Chair Linda Arcularia said, quote, "The excitement for this project is keen," end quote. She also said she hopes there are no surprises from the federal side. Well, Bennett Kessler also filed this report. While Inyo County remains in sharp disagreement with BrightSource Energy over the cost to the county of their Hidden Hills solar project near Death Valley, BrightSource has other business issues that have made news. And both parties now await a decision from the California Energy Commission on the Hidden Hills project permit. The CEC staff has found that the project would have problematic impacts. Now, in Inyo County, the Board of Supervisors recently rehashed problems with the project proposed for Charleston View near Death Valley. Officials continue to resist the project since their consultants and staff say the project will cost Inyo County as much as $90 million in impacts, mostly law enforcement and road repairs from major traffic and 2,300 employees. Inyo officials also have a problem with the fact that BrightSource has failed to submit a complete general plan amendment application that is needed for their project. However, the California Energy Commission has the final say, and that agency's staff issued a final assessment that says the Hidden Hills Solar Project would have significant biological, resource, cultural resource, land use, and visual resource impacts. Now, the summary of the Energy Commission staff assessment says that the Hidden Hills Solar Electric Generating System, quote, does not comply with all applicable laws, ordinances, regulations, and standards, and will have significant impacts to the environment after the implementation of all feasible mitigation, end quote. Now, the summary goes on to say that if the Energy Commission certifies the project, it would have to make overriding findings that the benefits outweigh the significant adverse environmental effects, and that, quote, public convenience and necessity, quote, end quote, should permit the project. Inyo County Administrator Kevin Caruncio said the CEC would need to consider overrides on a variety of issues. Caruncio said, quote, our hope is that the CEC will take a very close look at these overrides, particularly those related to local agencies' ordinances, regulations, and statutes, and the related impacts that could result from any override, end quote. The CAO added that it is hoped that the CEC will work with affected local agencies to develop mitigation measures. Now, in other news about BrightSource Energy, the Saturday Los Angeles Times reported that Southern California Edison and BrightSource, quote, mutually terminated, end quote, a power purchase agreement for 2 projects near Blythe. The article said that BrightSource has asked the CEC to put those projects on hold. We'll be back with more news.